Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I have a repair video here. This is no diagnosis, which I already did before I took everything apart, as you can see here. This is a 2011 BMW 535i, the X-Ride type, and it's a F10 N55 dual overhead cam turbo. Uh, the customer complaint was no start. He heard some noises and then no start. Uh, the car was sold to us, and I started doing some diagnosis. The first thing that I got, it was a whole bunch of codes with the valvetronic motor not reaching the limit or not reaching the minimum, then position sensors. So I went ahead and disconnected the valvetronic, check all the wiring, check all the fiber reference, ground, power, activation of the valvetronic motor, which right now the way I have it, you guys can see right very easy. That's this one right here, that's your valvetronic motors and sensor, which are all in the same uh, part. Um, well, we or I find out that the problem is in the valvetronic, so I'm like, okay, I need to disassemble. When I disassemble, I noticed that it was not just the valvetronic. We also had the eccentric shaft pitted in the intake camshaft. Let me get a light so I can show you guys better because I have a light on the top, but I want to point specifically to the intake camshaft, which is the one on the right side. So again, this is the intake when I'm putting the light, and obviously the other side is exhaust. So hopefully you guys can see. Maybe even the light is not as good as I thought of, but you can see the pitting in there on the front. Look at this; it's like rusted on the front, which right here is not a problem, but for the intake, the rear cams are actually the worst. The cam lobes, you can see, I mean, that is like, I mean, this car has 50,000 miles. This shouldn't, like 52,000 is, it's just off warranty, but for the years it's off of warranty. I mean, this is something that me being the owner of this car, I will like raise hell on the dealer, but I mean, we're fixing it. So in order to do this kind of job, you need a special tool to put the engine on timing, which I have here from Master Marker. It's a kit. Let me think the kit number is outside. Yeah, it's BMW 328. And in order to work on the N55, you need to get this bar, which is separate from that, which is BMW 55 A5. That is specifically for the N55. You can do N52 and N54. Um, then also, in order to remove the springs from the eccentric shaft, which they had a lot of tension. Don't ever try to do this without a tool, and be careful when you're using the tool, which I will show on this video, so you don't get hurt. Because even with the tool, you can. So these are the springs. They got a lot of tension that I'm talking about. So let me take that tool, which is a very weird looking tool. So this is the way it looks. It's just a big jaw, and it has a lever they use, can secure, and the whole 9 yards. So I will show that on the video, how to use it and install it. I have the engine on time right now. As you can see, I removed the rock cover, which is super simple. It's just, I mean, no brainer. You have to remove all the fuel lines, coils, connectors, the wiring. Luckily, in this engine, it's very nice because then you can move it over to the intake. I don't have to remove nothing on the intake for what I'm doing so far. Uh, I disconnect the battery. Don't let the battery connected for any of the work that you do. I plug the um, intake hose that goes down into the intercooler. I don't want nothing to fall in there. I remove all the injectors, as you can see. This will allow me to turn the engine with no compression. And the other thing that you have to be careful is these injectors, they all have numbers and they're calibrated for each of the positions. So you cannot start mixing it up. I mean, you can, but then you have to do a calibration for the injectors if you're careful enough to, like I did, take a picture and number, I put this film in here so everything is nice and organized. And I took a picture and, I number, this one is number one. As you can see, it has, this actually is the last numbers, the ones that change. Again, without the lights easier. So you can see this is a 269. The number two is, sorry. Yeah, it's a 232. It's a little hard yeah, 232. The next one, 276, 203, and so on, right? So I have all the injectors here. These are the kind of like extensions or boots where the coils goes, and the injectors are held because they have uh, a torque and a reverse torque holding it down. You need a special tool to remove the injectors that attaches to the tread on the injectors, and it pulls. It's very soft, especially this one with only 50,000 miles, so it wasn't very hard. I already prepared the bench in order to put the rest of the stuff, because when you are taking these apart, some of the caps on the intake camshaft are not marked, so I will be doing my own marks, like one dot here, one, two, two, and then so on, like that. Those are my own marks because they don't come marked. Still, I would put, on this white foam, I will write down cylinder one, two, three, four, five, six, so I can, organize the whole thing in there. But the most important part, which I haven't checked yet till I remove, because it's impossible to see when the car is put together or the engine is put together, is all these rocker arms and levers in here. If they're pitted, they need to be replaced as well. But that's something that I will be doing or checking till I take it apart. Again, I already have the engine on timing, and you will know that your engine is in timing when the camshaft in cylinder number one is facing like 12 o'clock, the two first lobes right here. And you can see the stamp on the camshaft facing up, which is also specifically for the time. That one, that barcode in here, and that barcode in here. Now going into the instructions, turn this lights off. So I'm using again Identifix for this, which is has all the original information as well. All right, this is the procedure. You have to follow the procedure as it says in here. First, remove the cylinder head cover, then the intake adjuster, which are the ones in the front. You have to put the engine on time, remove the tensioner, get the sprockets out, make sure that you don't mix, because it can be done, mix the intake and exhaust vanos. So make sure that even they're marked, that you put them aside, and the plates are for the timing for each side. I will be doing again my own marks. So be careful with the timing and the chain, and put them in the back, because the chain can slide out of the guide on one side and the timing will be incorrect. Again, you have to turn, the engine twice after installation, making sure the timing marks are fine. So after that, you take the intermediate lever, and that's where the procedure is a little tricky. You have to be careful. You have to put a 4 millimeter, I think, Allen wrench in here to rotate a valvetronic motor. And with a wrench, it's a 13 millimeter that fits on the, let me show you right here, the intake camshaft has, sorry, not the intake camshaft, the eccentric shaft has two spots on the front and in the back that you can put a wrench on it. So what you do is you're going to spin the camshaft. This camshaft has a stop right here for the maximum and the minimum. So what they really wanted you to do is raise it up, hold the intermediate shaft in there, and then remove this stop, then slowly turn it back to the minimum position. So this lever will be in between the two stops and hold the camshaft in place without, return. Because again, that's the only way you can remove this. I will be showing that on the video, guys. So I keep calling the eccentric shaft a camshaft. It's intermediate shaft or eccentric shaft. So again, I will show how to remove those springs pretty soon. I also wanted to say that I put the engine on time. You have a pin. I'm not going to raise the engine to show that, but let me Let me get to the specs and I'll show you. It's actually on valve timing. So as you can see, that's what they were saying, or what they said about the first levers on the camshaft and the intake facing 12 o'clock pretty much. Uh, we have, again, the barcodes. You will have, as you will see in 1 second, the two marks. These are the timing plates. Those can be mixed. The Banos sprockets, they can, they're marked, but they can, I mean, you can, but you should not mix it because they're different. That's the tensioner hole, which you need to remove. Let me sure, where is that? No, it's not on this one. I'm sorry, guys. Gotta go back. Intermediate intake adjuster. Trying to find the timing. Check the timing right here. So this is again the tool that you're using in here is supposed to be for the M54. You have to do some changes, and they tell you to do that. This is the hole where it's on the driver's side. You have to remove the transmission lines that goes to the cooler from there in order to make sure that you can remove and put the pin that goes there. That's exactly how the pin looks, and you need to go all the way in order to secure it. And this is the catch inside on the flywheel that will stop the engine from turning and make sure that you are in time. Um, the plastic that it shows in there that you need to remove is this is the thing. And I have that pin already installed. It comes on the kit from Master Marker, so my engine is on time. So I have now to put these timing tools and then release the bolts. That's what they're pretty much as now. That's what we need it for, to remove these two bolts. As you can see, we have the two timing levers or plates where they go. You can rotate these ones a little bit in case you need it to make sure the tool fixture fits in it. All right, so let me set up the tripod and I get you guys and to install that tool. All right, guys, everything is just sitting in there. I haven't put anything steady. So this is the fixture that goes on the front. This has two dowel pins that will fit it specifically here, especially if your engine is on time, like this one is. And then you have to put two bolts in here, which comes in the kit. I have this, again, just sitting in here. You have to fit these two brackets that will hold on the intake and exhaust. Same thing on this side, which just fits a little tight. The one on the intake uses this spacer. Make sure that you got at least one bolt to put them in there so it doesn't fall. But be careful when you're installing this so you don't drop stuff on your engine. I try to always put everything together without tightening nothing down, and then you're gonna start tightening things down because you want to make sure things can move a little bit and adjust to your needs. And then the nice thing about these sets are complete and they come with everything that you need to set the time in. All right, so I have to put well, we'll see if it's necessary to put a spacer in there. I doubt it because this is made for here. Yeah, but it is. It's just a little too long. So I can either use this or secure it with one of my bolts that I have here. These are too short. Let me see what else I got here. I guess I talked too soon. Remember, this is I told it goes from N52, N54, and now with some changes and tweaks, it works in the N55. This bridge is different. It's shorter from the N54, which is a little, just like, I don't know, maybe 3/8 of an inch longer than the N55. On the intake side, you have a separate bolt. Again, it's for a different position. But this is at least telling me that the engine is on time. Everything is as it should. We can tie these ones down. At least these ones are correct. We don't really need to, like, crazy tight. These are 4 millimeters. Just Allen wrench. Just want to make sure you tied it down so timing is secure as it is right now. And I need to work on those two bolts on the front, which for some reason they're a little bit too long. So let me start the video, guys, and I'll be right back. Hi guys, I'm removing the tensioner right now. For that, you need a 27 millimeter socket. Actually works very good. A ratchet. Put a rag in there. I use the one in here to collect the oil that is going to come out of that tensioner. This fixture is not really necessary to install when you're disassemble. I'm showing it just so you guys know how it looks. This is actually for you to check your timing. But saying that, for those that follow my channel and knows me, you know that I like to do my own marks. I was actually wrong when I said that these caps on the intake cam are not marked. They are. I can see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. The only one that is not marked will be the first one, which, I mean, we don't really care about that. The other thing that I really like to do is for my timing is to check or do my own marks. Again, we got the mark on the exhaust, or sorry, the intake. It says EIN. I'm going to make a mark on one of the tooth. Actually, this tooth is exactly lined up with the joint of the cap and the actual cylinder head. So I'm going to make a mark in here, just soft mark. Says no matter what, there is no other marks on that same tooth. And I'm going to make a mark here, which will remind me where this was. I like to try to do the same thing on the exhaust. And even if you can mark the chain, which I can in here, it's very soft, right? So this whole guide is covering the exhaust and I cannot see much. I mean, I have one right here lining up with this. I guess that's the one that I'm going to use to put my own mark. Again, this is my way and approach to do things. I'm sorry if I am all in the way of the capture, but I need to do this myself. And I'm going to make a mark here where this tooth is. Gonna make one that way and one in that way. So that should help me on the timing. So what the factory specification says is release the chain tensioner, have a clean cloth ready, a small amount of oil, blah, blah, blah will come. Put a new seal ring on it. Slightly, well, you need to release the central bolts. Oh, that's something, these ones you don't need to mark because they will fit on this fixture. For the bolts, I just put a 13 millimeter nut in there, which I will keep on the kit from now on, because these balls are too long for this engine, and we don't want to break anything. So you can remove that. Again, you don't need that for what we're doing now. And all it says using the special tool 114280, which is the bracket that we have on the back, to release the central bolts 1 and 2, which are this. Then release the tensioner, which I just got to loose. So let me make sure it's not too loose. I was just releasing the oil pretty much in the rack, but you wanted to have it tight in case the chains try to move a little bit. The chain. Hopefully this microphone is not picking too much of that noise. All right, for that, let's see how tight those are. They look like 16 millimeters. Yep. Wow. Let me only use a special tool to release the central bolts. Modify. They don't say nothing about being left hand. Feels really, really weird. That's a weird feeling. And this can be on any position as far as I can see. And that's why you need to have that tool in order to time this one. And before I do this, well, I just wanted to, yep, it's just in there. It says to loosen the central bolts. All right, so that one is pretty loose. Let's do the other one. Wow, that has a lot of torque. All right, they're both loose. You can see. Now we can release the tensioner. I know you guys cannot see much in there, but I'm sorry, it's just too small of a room. We got a fire department right next to us, well, across the street. Wow. Hopefully this microphone eliminates that. Well, I can always try to remove it. And since I have another kit of tools that I use for like the Mini Coopers, I have this tensioner tool because it's not the tensioner, it's a tool in order to set up the timing. But if you don't have that one, you need to get it in order to set the timing back up. I will show you further on the video what that looks like. All right, so we got the tensioner on. Let me put this toolkit someplace else because I'm going to start taking stuff out and put them in there. All right, so following the specifications, now that we release the tensioner, it's just to slightly lift the chain and start taking the sprockets out. Which, good luck with that. Feels a lot of. Man, you can move it. This, I don't like this guide. It's very on the way, but I mean, it is what it is. One thing that I wanted to do, and I always do, is get a plastic wire tie handy, because you can just put a plastic wire tie and go in through a hole or something to hold the chain while you're working on the car. So we're gonna be putting this onto the bench. Long bolt. All right, so this one's shouldn't be a problem. Actually, I like to put those bolts and everything into a separate thing so I don't get all the oil into this stuff that I created for the whole marking of the parts. Because, all right, so that's already stained. You guys not even looking at what I'm talking about. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So I put this phone in here that I want to start making the marks as I did here, because all those levers and everything, they have to go back in the same position. So I don't know if I'm going to replace them or not. This should be coming out easy, and you're just supposed to lift the chain. Yeah, it comes out. So this is the exhaust, and I'm going to put the exhaust here on, as I'm like here, that will be the same position. Um, I don't want to put too much in here yet because just want to hold the chain. What they said is just you be careful when you install this back to make sure that the chain is actually following the guide that goes to the tensioner. So let's take this one out. These two bolts and these two timing plates should be the same. As far as I read on everywhere, they are. And let me just read the exhaust before I put that intake in here. Well, this one has a mark, which you can't see because it's in behind, so that's not good for us. And this is my mark right here. Okay. AUS. That's all I can see. I don't see any other marks. Hopefully you guys can read that. It says AUS. That's exhaust. Let me take a look at that in here. Yeah, AUS is supposed to be the exhaust, but this one only says AUS and it doesn't say EX, which is exhaust for us. But well, probably that's in German. And let's remove this one. Okay. Okay. And this one says EIN, which is the intake. All right, so now This is where I like to keep things tight. All right, you go under it. Do I really need to make too much stuff in here? Just like to keep it tight in there. But you know what? It's not really a problem. This one can stay there. No need for a plastic wire tie on this one. Okay, so now we will be working on the next step. All right, guys, I removed the timing tool. We need only to remove those sprockets. Again, the pin is on the timing hole right at the close to the starter. And I want to show you the position of this specific tool, which is very easy to install, very dangerous to not do it correctly because otherwise you will be releasing these springs without the right, you know, holding. So you have to make sure that inside, let me show you with a screwdriver. I'm trying to get one. Sorry, guys. So right here inside we have this one right here is like a hook, and on this side that will hold the spring, let's say from this other one, from here and here. And you have to make sure that as far as I read, that those are all the way in, as it shows in here, right? So this is what you're looking for, and I don't see that yet. So it's still not all the way in, so we have to make sure. Let me put you guys right back in the tripod. Let's back into a zoom. So you guys will be looking at. Sorry for the shaking. Trying to do the best. All right, so let's loose this up again. I mean, my hooks are where they should. You have to be very flat. Right here, we still got no problems. We're just playing with the tool. And this should lock in there like that. I just don't see it completely seal as they mention in there, but I can see from the inside that it is locked very well. This has a stop in here. Let me remove it back again so you guys can see what I'm talking about. I don't know why this is pretty easy to install. I don't know why people try to like make it so hard sometimes to show people what to do. All right, so as you can see, we got this stop in here, which is going to sit right in the outside of this spring. This is the ball that we need to remove, all right? So all you got to do, all I'm doing is setting out the fixture so I can have those two hooks that you tie with this center bolt. Oop, I guess I loosened them up too much. You got to be careful. All right, so that looks better. And all you have to play too is make sure that the lever is sitting flat on it. And you can lock it. I mean, I can see that the two levers are all the way down. Yeah, there's probably a difference on that tool that they show in there to the one I have made by Asher. Ooh, it's so humid today. All right, for this one, we're gonna need the E8. So right now the spring is being hole by the fixture, so we can uh, safely remove this bolt. Better if I put a extension in it. My prayers for all the people in the Carolinas with all this water. Huh? All right, going back to the work. Just make sure that you are, as you can see, there is no more pressure of that spring and that bolt. So as long as it's locked in here, we're safe. Have to keep metal trays around. Be careful not to drop them in here. And actually, before I take all these apart, or start taking, always be better be safe than sorry. At least if it fails, it will be here. And one in this hose, so a seal. I mean, I still got the hole for the injectors that I cannot cover, or I can, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to use a magnet to get that bolt out of there. You can keep this tool here. I like to put things away when I'm not needing it. I have this tray completely full, so I'm going to get another one for whatever I'm starting to take apart. So what you can do now is get this and go slowly to release the pressure of this spring. Hope I'm doing it right. Yep. And that's it. That should be no more. Oh well, I forgot to release it from here, but that's fine. Well, that's just so. That's it, man. So we can now lock this back. Well, you have to keep the bolt tight a little bit. We can secure this back in here. My light is about to die. But so we have one of the springs out. And this is the way it looks. Very important. This is going to be for cylinder one only. Same thing, the levers that you're going to be removing from here, that cannot be installed in any other position. So make sure that whatever you start taking apart in here, take pictures of the numbers from the cylinder. I mean, right now with the cameras that we have, we can have the information very specific. So take pictures. Take your time. Take pictures. You will be glad that you did that later on when you're assembling. Especially, when, I mean, parts are easy to remember where they go, but numbers, we're talking about, 24, 32 pieces. So just take your time. All right, guys. So this is as much as I wanted to show on the springs. I'm going to do all the springs and then get you guys back into the video. All right, guys. I got pretty much all the springs out. This is the last one. I again put them into this phone that I created for these. Now we're gonna remove the keepers that hold the rocker arms. Let's call that those in place, and we're gonna start in a sequence from, I guess, the first one to the last one. Let me say, place all the gates, bearing cap, release the screws and on gate tighten door, place all the gates in here, blah blah blah. Mixing all the gates will cause the engine to suffer idle speed fluctuations. So again, you need to be the intermediate levers. That's what they call those. They have to be put in the first in the same sequence. So let's remove cylinder number one together. So I'll show you guys how they look. So these are what they call the gates. You have to clean all those, make sure they're not wearing out in here. Always on a specific. They got a mark in here, but I mean, not a mark, a number. I will put that everything very carefully in position. And this is the time that you need to take a little bit of a setback and make sure the rollers on the intermediate levers, they move freely and they're good. This one feels very good. And they got a number in here. Let's see if we can see that together. So this is piston number 1, valve 1. I don't know if you guys can see that. It has like a 03 on the top. There's some other numbers in here. And these, let me clean this up. This is what I'm talking about. The gate um, has some more numbers. This one ends in a O2 here, like 758 3721-02, I think. Pretty sure that's what it says. All right. But again, just make sure you keep those organized. I'll show you what I'm doing so I don't make any mix. And this is the second one on the same cylinder. I'm just, roughly cleaning. I'm not sure if I'm showing that to you guys, so let's go back. Yeah, you guys can see there. So I'm cleaning just the roller here. See if there's any marks, if it rolls smooth. Again, this is the time you want to check all this. No, this one is perfect too. So we're going to set those up in there. Well, let me see the number on this one. This one has an O3 as well. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing in all the gates. Remove that, be right back. And I show you on the bench how that will look. All right, I remove all the gates and all the intermediate levers. Right now I want to remove the valvetronic motor. For that I remove the lower or medium, or not really lower, so let me rethink the minimum stop for the exhaust, I mean intermediate or eccentric shaft. So many different terms. Just loosen these things up. There are T30s. And now that we remove all the gates and all the levers and the springs, the eccentric shaft is just there. So I want to see how that comes out. It felt like it was grabbing, and that's the reason or main reason that we're replacing the shaft. And I mean that intake camshaft is just so pitted. It's unbelievable. I wish you guys can see what how I see it, but when I remove it, I will show you. Because my next move is to remove the eccentric shaft from there, and last the intake camshaft. Just always take your time. This is the stop that I was mentioning. This is the minimum stop. I think both are the same. Might be wrong. The height might be different, but it looks pretty close each other. And now Let's see if I can move that with a screwdriver. That shouldn't be too strong. Yep. You can just spin it around and take it off. So this is how the eccentric shaft motor and sensors look. This has 5 sensors built in for position, and then the motor itself, right? All right, we can put this on the side. And now we can get this shaft out. It's actually not feeling so bad. When the motor wasn't here, I was feeling more of a grabbing than now. But till I remove it, I will be able to see completely. This should be the same. Yeah, they're all T30s. And I will put those in the same specific order. We have cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So we can do that same thing. Let me see if those caps have any type of mark, like up and down or so. Well, they got some letters and numbers on the top, and they got the seal. It's like a seal at the bottom. I don't know if you guys can see that, but what I'm talking about is like this mark in here. So the seal is facing down in all of them. And this guy's a 6, 5. I don't see a 4, 3, 2. So they are marked. Not a problem. So let's break them loose. Not too much torque. I like to do it by hand first to feel how strong of a tight or how tight they are. Because I have seen manufacturer that put, like on a bolt like this, they had it's attached to an aluminum uh, thread. I've seen like 55 new, Newton meters, which should be too much. And sometimes I like to recheck that because I don't want to take any threads out. If it happens removing it, well, it's nothing you can do. Install, it is your fault. This position really kills my back. See if I can raise this car a little more so I don't have to lean that much. And let me see the camera again. Yeah, that's going to change a little bit. I'll raise you guys up a little. That should do it, right? I mean, this is pretty simple. Let me take one out so you guys can see how they look. And this has a bearing cap and a needle bearing. So I'm gonna put these ones on cylinder 1. And this is the cap that I was referring, like a rod cap. Oh yeah, this, oof, wow. You can see the mark on the needle. Wow. With 50,000 miles. It's unbelievable. All right, so we're gonna set this, let me show you what I've been doing in the meantime. So I got the injectors and all that stuff in there you saw before. And this is what I have now here. So this will be my cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And this is the first of the intermediate shaft, second, first, second, first, second, first, second, and so on. So this is the way you keep everything organized because it is, again, I want to be strong on that. It is super important. Otherwise, you will have a very rough idle and even probably misfires. So no matter what, I mean, I have, again, the shaft is new. I have it right there waiting for me. Let me take all that stuff and I'll be right back, guys. All right, guys, I got the eccentric shaft out. I had to remove, or at least, yeah, well, remove the injector um, pipe out, the supply pipe, because it's kind of like in the way for these caps to be removed now that I'm going over to remove the intake shaft. I wanted to show this is the tool that you use to remove the injectors. So very specific. It's BMW 553218 from Asian market as well. Very easy. It secures on the bolts that are on the bottom of the injectors, like right here, right? Somewhere around here. Might be positioned around like this or so. And yeah, like in here and here, and then you just pull the injectors up. It's very simple, but very handy. I mean, it's not expensive. So, I mean, the overall tools are like, believe me, I purchased myself all the tools for this job. I like to, I like to do that. As I can keep it for the next one and the next one. So we work in a lot of European vehicles, so that's not a problem. All right, so we will be doing this again. All the caps are marked 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, except for the first one. As far as the eccentric shaft, I have it here. I will be removing the needle bearings. I want to see how they look. I'm actually going to do it right now. Let me turn the camera around so you guys can see what I'm doing. Got a short space. I got two benches and they just get full. This one doesn't look so bad. I mean, by eye, I don't see a big damage on it. The caps are like the bearing caps, let's say, those are the ones that got a lot of mark. I think the best way to really find out if it is damaged or no, it will be with a caliper or a micrometer, which is more exact. Yeah, this one has marks in here. Not sure if you guys are going to be able to see it, but let's see. Actually, not even on the camera. So right here, we got indentions. Yeah, yeah, just by this is enough. Because this with the pressure, it will start jumping. Oh yeah, I can see now that I am, especially right here. Oh yes. Oof, wow. This is no doubt about it. Damage, specifically right here so far. Like, I mean, you can see it by eye. With the naked eye. All right, so no matter what, we have it. So just wanted to check and see what else I find. But let's go back to the car and remove that intake camshaft. Sorry for the quick spin. I might cut that out. So, are you 232? Yes, you are. Let's see. Yeah, pretty much the same tension that I can feel from the eccentric shaft to these ones. Let's lose them all and then remove. And guys, this is a expensive repair. Time-wise, parts-wise, is just ridiculous. And the worst thing is nothing I can do. I mean, it has to be done. Just nothing I can cut, to try to save some money for the customer. It's just impossible. I don't know what I took that from there. Still need it. Let's see if we can remove this. Yeah, or spinning by hand. And here we have some rings that should be on the new one, hopefully, because it's like an O-ring and then like a metal ring, like a piston ring. I will imagine that if you order the cam, it will come with everything, right? But I might be wrong. We'll see. We'll see soon. Well, those rings looks pretty good. This is the cap. I mean, you cannot put it a different way. But we're gonna set this right next to cylinder number one on my bench. Was reading, that these camshafts are actually a hollow tube that they either weld or make the cams to it is super strong. I saw this guy welding it, and then he said that he was going to machine it again and reuse it. I'm like, wow. I don't know if I would do that, but it make it seem like it's very strong. Always check for wearing. So I'm going to put this cap next to the cylinder one on my bench, and then this one on one, and then so on, right? I take my time for this. I don't want to drop any bolts. I mean, with this hurricane storm, it's being so uh, wet. The moisture in the ambient is, oh wow. I know you guys can hear that probably. That was the fire department going out again. I mean, it's so humid that my tools are starting to, I mean, not all the tools, but some of the tools are starting to get like a coat of small rods. So I put some desiccant to absorb the moisture because it's just ridiculous. I mean, all the flooring here in the shop is just like with like a small film of water. That would be number three. You probably can use the cordless for those last ones. They got more room. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, we can leave that there. Mm-hmm. That is number four. And the last one. All right, that's the sixth. I'll put this away and let me take that camshaft out. You gotta just be careful with the front. With those rings that I told you. And now let me show you how that looks. I mean, that is just unbelievable. A car with 50,000 miles looks like that. All right, guys. This will be the last part of, I mean, the last of this first part, which is taking it apart. Now I have to clean everything up. I have pretty much all the parts, so I can start putting everything back together. Um, I'm going to leave these rollers here. They all look good. The main problem on here is a eccentric shaft motor with the valvetronic. The shaft there is just damaged. Based on what or who did that damage? Moisture inside an engine that it was never, with a head gasket issue that is supposed to be sealed. So again, this is a defect of engineering. Yes, they're making the customer pay for it. I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is ridiculous. But it's again not in my ball. I'm just a mechanic fixing it. All right, guys. So I hope you like the content, and I'll see you next time. I'm not sure if I will be recording the installation complete. Maybe just show you the timing itself, which I think is the most important. Maybe little by little. I will see. See you next time.